The EU was accused of an ongoing campaign of threats in breach of international law over the issue of fish quotas by Iceland's former Prime Minister Sigmundur David Gunnlaugsson. Britain and the EU sealed a post-Brexit trade agreement on Christmas Eve, after 9 months of fraught negotiations. Despite Downing Street calling a mutual compromise, Prime Minister Boris Johnson has faced criticism for capitulating on one of the most contentious areas of the talks, fishing rights. The UK wanted any fishing agreement to be separate from the trade deal with access negotiated annually in a similar fashion to Iceland's agreement with the bloc. Iceland is an independent coastal state, with the rights and responsibilities under international law associated with that status. Stocks shared with the EU are managed through annual bilateral negotiations. Each autumn these talks set total allowable catches on the basis of scientific advice. This contrasts starkly with the position of the UK fishing industry within the EU's Common Fisheries Policy, CFP, something Brussels wanted to maintain at all costs. In the end, the UK agreed to a further 5.5 years of predictability for fishing communities, with the UK leaving the CFP. Stock quotas for UK fishers will increase over a 5-year time frame, incrementally between now and 2026. This means Britain will fish just over 66% of UK waters, in stark contrast with Iceland, which catches 90% of its own fish. During the transition, EU fishing vessels will still have full access to fish in UK waters, and after that, negotiations will be annual just like the ones between Iceland and the bloc. However, the EU will be able to retaliate with tariffs if Britain refuses to grant it access, meaning London may never be fully in control of its waters. Iceland only managed to achieve that after playing hardball with Brussels for years. In 2013, Iceland's former Prime Minister Sigmundur David Gunnlaugsson even accused the bloc of being in breach of international law over fish quotas. In July of that year, the EU imposed sanctions on the Faroe Islands due to a dispute over the fishing quota of herring and mackerel. The boycott banned Faroese vessels carrying herring or mackerel from all EU ports, including Denmark, Sweden and Finland. Similar sanctions to Iceland were expected to follow. Mr. Gunnlaugsson said at the time, the EU's ongoing campaign of threats of coercive measures against Iceland and the Faroe Islands is in breach of various obligations under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea and general international law. He noted the threat of sanctions was in breach of the obligation on coastal states to agree together on measures to assure the protection and development of a common stock.